Hooty hoot, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta,
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
and we're back with the second half, Season 1B of The Owl House, sooner than expected.
I was not expecting the hooty hoot in the intro. Yeah, way sooner than expected because we're doing almost like a bit of crunch time on the podcast in order to get the rest of the Owlcast done before the 3
anticipated
episodes.
Season 3 of 3 45-minute episodes, because fuck Disney.
You can say that
Well,
a billion times and it'll be just as agreeable.
So, October 15th is when the Owl House will make its long-awaited return. Actually, compared to the last hiatus, which lasted for, I think a year, nearly a year, this one is a pretty quick turnaround, only 3 months, I'd say, between the Season 2 finale and the Season 3 premiere. Then again, this third Season 3 premiere episode is the only crumb we're getting for the rest of the year, and then the other 2 episodes are coming out sometime in 2023.
But yeah, it releasing
So,
so soon is why we were caught unawares with it, and why we are having to double layer these episodes for the next few weeks.
It's for us, for them, this ain't gonna come out until we're calling it Owl Week. We're just gonna drop all the episodes one day after the other, starting on Thursday, the October 13th. Then the 14th we'll drop the Season 2A episode, and then the day of the Season 3 premiere we'll drop Season 2B, and then someday, hopefully maybe a day or two after its premiere, we'll get the Season 3 episode out.
So what you're saying is that all those jokes we made of starting to do uploads daily in order to cater to the YouTube algorithm ended up being true.
Truer than expected. And then again, we are also recording this nearly a whole month before this episode in particular will go live. So we had to shuffle around the schedule enough, what with Cyberpunk going in front of Licorice Recoil, and now this having to go in front of a lot of planned episodes.
As much as I do love the Owl House, yeah, we definitely have to record them far in advance because I don't think I could watch an entire season of 21 episodes in 2 days.
No, neither could I. I just don't have the time, bro. I mean, I could if it were the Owl House. I definitely could. I just don't have the time, bro.
I mean, I technically have the time, but I don't want to set aside that time if I can avoid it, so...
I mean, you do more than just watch shows indoors. You got jobs, you got friends to go see, you got family stuff to do.
Yeah, exactly. I have this god fucking damn it video to edit. I'm so sick of editing this thing. I am in hell. Kill me. But anyway.
And if you want to help us make this into a job so that we can justify watching 21 episodes in 2 days, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and head on down to the comments to let us know what you think about the Owl House and the podcast.
Good. That infernal house demon is asleep. Surround the house.
Sleepwalking! Sleep-hooting! Hi, Lilith! Peek-a-hoot! Sorry! Ina doesn't like trespassers, but I'm always here to make new friends! Whoa, look at me! I'm a person now! Wobbly-wobbly! Whoop, watch out! Oh, no.
And with that, I guess it's time to get into the episodes.
So, compared to Season 1A, how has your impression of the Owl House changed from then to now?
The biggest change is that I like Luz a lot more. Because during the first Owlcast, I was saying, Luz, she's aight, she's a cool protagonist, but King and Ida, they really steal the show, they're carrying it. And this time around, it's not even that Luz's character has necessarily changed a lot, although she has gotten more good moments. I think the main difference is that I've just had more time with her personality and getting to know her a little bit more, and just her having a lot more fun moments over time. It just me getting attached, you know? And so I'd say the cast feels a lot less imbalanced and a lot more filled out, especially with the side characters too, because this is the part of the show where Luz starts going to school to learn magic and all of that good stuff. And so the side characters really start to get fleshed out. Specifically Amity. Amity is like absolutely the best side character at this point in the show.
Oh yeah, no question. And if you like Luz now, just wait until season 2. I must reiterate from the last point in the last Owl podcast, we ain't even to the good part yet.
So
that's next time.
That is that. See, you always say that, and to me, that is like the most startling statement of all time. All right, so to put this into a little bit of perspective, right? I mean, you were pointing this out before the cast that I changed my Discord status to Owl House is cool. Only really good shows get me to do that. And thus far, the apparently quote-unquote not as good part, I'd say it's my second favorite show I've seen this year so far. Only topped by Spy Family.
Okay, yeah. What, bro, once you see season 2, you're gonna be like, Spy who? Is all of this is all good stuff, and season 1B is better than season 1A. The show just gets better as it goes. It already starts great, but it's just one of those shows where it's like you are rewarded for watching it by being gifted a better show as it goes along.
To be fair, it does partially depend on how good the second block of Spy Family is, because that's coming out soon, and I am way hyped for it. But the Owl House is just, to me, Spy Family and the Owl House both exist in this realm of being just so instantly entertaining to watch, where like you don't have to even try to have fun. You just sit there and the fun happens instantly. And that is a rare type of show where it's just constant instant fun.
You don't gotta meet it halfway. You don't gotta strain to be like, all right, I'm having a good time. No, the simple act of watching the show is just fun.
And that, I think, is the best thing a show can be. You know, screw character depth, although this show does have some of that at parts.
Yeah, that's the good thing. It has all of the elements of a really, really good TV show, but it's also just a fun activity. Just the act of watching it is a good time.
Exactly.
Whereas, I believe people when they say, Breaking Bad is a masterpiece, but I can't imagine being like, when I sit down to watch Breaking Bad, I can't imagine I'm going to have as much fun watching it as I do watching a show like The Owl House. Granted, like they're going for two different feelings, so there's that.
To put this into perspective with a show that I have actually seen, Made in Abyss: Dawn of the Deep Soul, incredibly captivating experience. Don't regret watching it twice, but it's like horrifying and makes your skin crawl. It's not really fun. I mean, it's fun at parts, but it's more often enchanting is how I would describe it. Whereas Owl House is just, you put it on, you can easily binge like 10, like the first block of episodes, I did 10 in a single day. For this, it was split up into 2 sessions of 7 episodes and 2 episodes. And by the way, that first session was supposed to be 6 episodes because I had things to do. I couldn't help myself, man. Just couldn't.
It's that kind of show. Once it gets its hooks in you, you're like, I don't want to not watch it right now.
So yeah, I am very impressed with this block of episodes.
Yeah, if season 1 got you feeling like this, season 2 is going to it was when the first 2 episodes of season 2 unfortunately were leaked ahead of time before their official premiere. When they came out, it was like magic.
So you watched the leaked versions?
Yeah, back when there was a whole thing where the first 2 episodes of season 2 were taken to like a special event and were broadcast there, but I guess somehow someone got a clean file and ripped it and put it onto mega.nz, and I couldn't help myself, man. I also watched it on the official release day just because I wanted to rewatch the episodes, because I think they also got taken off the platform after a while, but I couldn't wait any longer, man. It was already like nearly a year. And
You know what?
it was
I
like,
don't blame you.
And like it was like slipping back into a nice fuzzy bed with a very comfortable hefty blanket. It's just like, I'm home. It's been so long.
You know, sometimes
But-
if I see too many shows that are boring in a row, so, you know, sometimes I ask the question, did I just forget how to enjoy things? And I was sort of having that recently with like JoJo's Part 2, which to be fair wasn't boring for the most part, but
No,
I did
you were
enjoy
right
it.
to feel exhausted after that one.
Yeah. And then I know everyone will hate me for this, but Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which should have been super entertaining, I was like, no, I'm not vibing with this. And after that, I asked myself the question: did I just forget how to enjoy shows? And then the Owl House happens, and that's the evidence. I still know how to enjoy things because I really enjoy this.
It's funny that you bring that up, and like you bring up this connection that you have with the Owl House, because when the first episode of season 1B is about Luz wanting to be a writer and trying to finish a book for a writing competition, I was like, oh yeah, Crunchy's gonna like instantly fall in love with this episode.
I did. It was a really immediately relatable thing to me. So episode 11 is about King becoming an author. He sees this line of people going up to like this famous author wanting to buy his books, and he's like, oh, I can get servants like this. And so he signs a deal with a publisher. Well, first him and Luz make a book together, but he's not very cooperative, and he wants to make it all about death and violence and stuff. So he ends up releasing, getting a draft published that's like mostly his work, but with a little bit of Luz's stuff there, because Luz ended up quitting the project because he was so uncooperative. And that got him mega famous. But then when it came time to write the follow-up, he couldn't he couldn't make something good, because the little bit of Luz in there was what made the first book so special. And they end up having to, together, trapped in a shrinking box, write, make a masterpiece as quick as possible and try to make the deadline, which gave me Vietnam-esque flashbacks to the time I had to spend like 3 days straight just doing nonstop writing to make the contest deadline on time.
So what you're saying is that was just it's going to be a representation of you and Vlusky for With Oasis Volume 2.
I mean, Vlusky not so much, because I mean, I normally ask him to make the cover super early on. But yeah, with Oasis Volume 2, probably. Especially because I'm such a goddamn perfectionist. The shrinking box metaphor is definitely apt, and I tend to think that this entire episode is just the writers venting about the process of making either this show or past shows. Because it's
they're not exactly subtle about it when Luz like just straight up says crunch time is a toxic behavior that lends itself to burnout and unrealistic expectations.
I think that is the exact line, and yeah, a little on the nose, but it's whatever. And the reason why I say it's venting specifically, though, is because King being uncooperative. With cartoons, you've got like a team of writers who need to cooperate, and I get the feeling that someone has had an experience with a king before.
It could be that. It also could be Disney. It could just be a Disney stand-in.
It could also be a Disney stand-in.
This came out recently, I think, to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Gravity Falls. Alex Hirsch released a bunch of excerpts from emails with standards and practices at Disney.
I've seen a lot of those.
And for all the things that he either was not allowed to put in Gravity Falls or like negotiated hard to be like, no, this should be in here, and if you disagree, you're stupid.
Yeah, I think one of them was like the two police characters. I forget their names.
Being gay.
Yeah, where they were like,
no, they
too
just have
chummy.
to be really good friends.
Yeah, like the first time Standards and Practices was like, yo, these characters are getting a little touchy-feely.
They're kind of gay, bro.
Men. Yeah, but then Alex Hirsch writes them back like, they're just really good friends, bro. Don't you understand? And they're like, okay, fine, we concede. They're just really good friends, bro.
Well, it's a damn shame that that's what it has to come to get any kind of gay representation.
At least the Owl House was allowed to be a little more explicit. Or rather, I presume a lot more explicit once we get to season 2. But season 1 is already fairly explicit with it so far.
Yeah, we'll get to that episode when we get to it. I got a special story about one of those episodes in particular.
Ew. All right.
The rewatching this portion of the Owl House made me realize like just how funny the show is. Like on top of having really good characters and a really compelling narrative, the humor is just like top tier. Like I wouldn't say it hits quite the same highs as Gravity Falls because Gravity Falls has I believe his name is Big Henry, which is just one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Who's Big Henry?
Remember the golf episode?
Oh, that fucking clip. Yeah, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about now. That scene is hilarious.
Yeah, that's the one that was written by Matt Braley, who made Amphibia. And like that is one of the greatest jokes I've ever seen on television. And I don't think Owl House quite hits that because it doesn't dedicate enough time to one bit to yeah, that, and also I don't think for a joke, they don't ever get that dark. They do have, I think my favorite joke in the entire show thus far is the choosing hat from the 12th episode.
Okay, on that note, there are 2 digs, either parodies or digs at Harry Potter in just this block of episodes, and both were, because I've read Harry Potter twice, unfortunately, both got me cackling.
And now I feed, and it just fucking sinks its teeth into the neck of the kid.
Yeah, that specific one, now I feed.
It's a top tier joke.
Yeah, if I had to say, like, the funniest shows I've ever seen, probably, like, Love is War, Azumanga Daioh, Nichijou, Yui Yushiki, stuff like that. But this show is, something I noticed about this block that didn't necessarily happen as much for the first block, is that I kept on, like, most of my notes are just me quoting the show, just quoting all the funniest lines.
Everything about this show is good. The script is both like funny, witty, and also compelling between the dynamics of the characters and pushing the story forward.
One of my favorite quotes from episode 11 specifically is when King says, "Rulers reach too, now with more swears."
The one line that I took from that episode was, "Don't you dare insult shipping in my presence."
This isn't a quote, but it was something, it was a visual gag where it was a statue of a mini tour. Then in quotes,
yeah, it says not to scale.
Yeah.
It's so good. The show is so good.
One
Yeah,
of the like
It's got the Gravity Falls DNA all over it because
Oh, yeah.
Alex Hirsch.
Like-
but it's just, that's just good. Like more Gravity Falls humor, please.
Gravity Falls had such I think I said this in the first podcast, but such a specific sense of humor, and this is the only other time I've seen that sense of humor because it's like a lot of the same writers.
That like near the beginning of this episode, King throws a piece of bacon onto some guy, and a monster just swoops down and carries him away to eat him. And he just does it like nonchalant. He just nonchalantly tries to put this guy to his death.
Yeah, King just killed a man and we don't even care. And then the main plot of this episode is King and Luz writing a story, and that does have a little bit of emotional resonance where King is like, hey, I'm being selfish by not letting you have your own stake in the story and not letting your voice be heard. And it's a good message, and also something that King specifically needs to learn because he is very prideful and at times arrogant. But the more emotionally resonant part of this episode, I say, is the B plot with Ida and Lilith going on a journey to find the flower of eternal youth.
The relationship between Ida and Lilith is we get to see it like being dove into with more of a positive outlook on it, because before we got like tiny glimpses of Lilith trying to be sympathetic to Ida's curse and trying to, even though she's trying to capture her, she's like trying to reach out to her a little bit, and we see that bloom the most here, where they put themselves on equal footing, and Lilith just tries to, instead of capture her at all, it gives her the choice to join the coven.
Yeah, it
was just seeing them tag team this one monster dude who tried to trap him is very, very good. Shows how much girl boss they are.
It was really interesting seeing a nicer side of Lilith, where before she's just the one who's always angry at Ida and wants to capture her and get her to the Emperor's Coven. And it fleshed out their relationship a lot. And there are also a few more moments like that throughout this block of episodes, which, when we get to the finale of this season, will be very relevant. But we're not there yet.
I love how, even though, like, at the end of the day, I wouldn't say it's a narratively satisfying, Dana Terrace's self-insert just being the thing that saves the day, it's funny.
Like, you were trying to remember who the self-insert is. Is it the little white
tiny nose?
Thing? Yeah, tiny nose.
Yeah, the little white ball with the orange hair and the big nose.
I forgot that's her self-insert.
Yeah, she voices her. And the voice she puts on is hilarious.
Yeah, very good voice acting for that character, very fitting. And Dana Terrace got herself into... Basically, the resolution is that she comes in with the new masterpiece, the new American novel or whatever. And she ends up becoming the one in an abusive contract this time. So
I know I'm just, when I say this, I don't mean it at all. I'm just stirring the pot. But I'm like, because she is playing Tiny Nose and Alex Hirsch plays King, I can't help but think that it's funny how, the Crunch Time Snake monster, it says that Alex Hirsch's character is old news, while Dana Terrace's character is the future. It doesn't mean anything at all.
I mean, you can look at it that way, and it would be kind of funny.
Alex Hirsch is his... I don't think they're married yet, but they're definitely partners. And then, Luz, we finally get into the magic school part of the show, where we've got glimpses of what the show would look like as one of those magic school type shows where the character goes to a fantasy school to learn a specific set of skills relevant to that world. And now she is...
Because she starts going to school at episode 13, so are we just skipping episode 12?
Oh wait, my bad. I forgot about I have them listed differently because those two episodes for some reason I think like the airing schedule of them got switched for some reason, or then no, the release of it got switched for some reason. I think I want to say that it released in Africa on Disney for some reason. I don't have time to research the thing right now, but the release of episode 12 in particular was strange. I think it came out early in Africa than it did in the West.
That doesn't, okay, I get how that would happen, I guess, but it's like, you need episode 12 to come before 13, because that's when Luz learns her second spell, and she uses that at the very beginning of episode 13.
And also the first time we see Luz and Amity hang out as friends. And start to form the best dynamic in the show.
You know, for some reason, I thought that Amity and Luz would, like, take a little more time to, like, become friendly towards each other. But no, they just went, like, in this block, Amity and Luz basically start off as just, buds. Like, they're cool with each other the entire time.
Yeah, Amity, she doesn't look down on Luz anymore, but she's definitely like, hey man, if you don't like shape up, you're probably not gonna make it into Hexside because you need to know more than one spell, bro.
Yeah, she is still rather blunt and takes herself very seriously, but of course some of that will be pretty hard turned due to a certain development later on. But for now, she is still serious Amity. And my first note for this episode is I quoted Luz saying, "I've got a new crush, and her name is Education." And then the next paragraph is me just spamming the word Yuri in all caps.
I mean, we'll wait and see.
I think there are multiple instances of me spamming the word Yuri in all caps throughout these notes.
Listen, Dana Terrace knows what the people want.
She at least knows what we want.
Oh, trust me, it's more than just us.
And also my second note is Ida bursting into the room and saying, "No, it's Human Treasure Day." And then when I heard her just say the TR, I thought for some reason I thought she was going to say it's Human Trafficking Day.
I mean,
they couldn't put it, but
well, they couldn't. But I wouldn't put it past Ida to maybe have dabbled in trafficking of some kind before.
Fair.
I mean, what is she doing now if not trafficking a human to do her job for her?
God, all of my notes for this episode, nearly all of them, are just me quoting the funniest lines like, "Wow, that a surprisingly peaceful domestic moment. When will it be ruined?" And then distant crashing.
This was the episode where she tries to make the vegetables come to life and put them in the pot, and then be like, yeah, like, all right, get in, and they all run away, and it's like, why do I always think that will work? Imply that she's done it more than once.
She just keeps on bringing vegetables to life and having them commit suicide, and she keeps on wondering why it won't work.
Because she's too lazy to just cook it properly. So good. So good.
So this episode is about Luz going to this place called the Knee. And it's this snowy place with like red trees and grass. And personally, I think the Knee is like absolutely beautiful. It is probably the prettiest set piece in this show so far. I want to spend another episode here because it is just so pretty. I am a sucker for snow. They get all the characters in snow outfits too, and that's so cool.
And Luz has a really cute hat.
Yeah, it's like I love this place. Like, this episode could genuinely be carried on the atmosphere of the Knee alone. Like, even if the script was which it isn't bad at all, but even if it was garbage, this place is so atmospheric that, like, I would barely even mind. I would just love every second of being here.
And who knows, maybe an episode in the future will take place here again.
I feel like this is foreshadowing. But
We
that's
ain't
exciting.
even to the good part yet.
So Luz, she's basically putting on airs and saying, I know tons of spells. And it's to impress Amity and her siblings because she doesn't want to be seen as a little baby. And she is also told that if you can't learn more than one spell, you will be put in the baby class at school. And obviously, Luz can't have that because she'll just get bullied relentlessly. So she needs to learn a new spell by the end of the episode. And Ida starts... Alright, so Ida's training her, and Ida's methods are a bit avant-garde. She literally walks up to Luz like, alright, here, taste all these different types of snow. You need to learn the taste of snow. Yeah, come on, eat the snow. What's the hold up?
The face Luz makes.
And then Ida just shoves all of them in her mouth. And
it's
the
such
point
a
of
fun
it,
time.
Yeah.
It's just fun. The greatest anime we've ever covered.
Oh yeah, the best of them all. But Ida is basically trying to get Luz in touch with nature because nature will give you the answer, Luz. Nature will tell you how to use the magic, and in the end, it does tell Luz how to use the magic. And she ends up using that to save Ida and Amity's two siblings from trying to remember the monster. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the monster actually was.
I think it was called the Slither Beast, but I don't think its name is important.
Trying to remember what it looked like, honestly.
I think it was like snake-like.
I mean, I imagine with that kind of name.
I love Luz's little dance being like, yeah, I'm gonna save him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Ida's like, well, I'm glad I got to see her misplaced confidence one last time.
And Amity and Luz team up together to help free everyone from the Slither Beast, which, very cool, getting to see Amity and Luz bond.
And it won't be the last time.
It certainly won't be the last time. And I guess now we can get into episode 13, since that's about it for episode 12, aside from the entirely comedic B-plot.
It's a goofy B-plot. I love seeing King and Hootie together, and it also won't be the last time we see those two, their dynamic.
It is a good B-plot, I'm just not sure if there's much to say about it. It's
they bring
funny.
some animals to life and hijinks ensue.
Yeah, TLDR, that's what happens. It's funny.
And then now we get into the actual magic school stuff.
So Luz starts off trying to, in a very funny scene, basically doing the entrance exam to get into this school. And she completely whiffs it, basically. She demonstrates 2 spells and then trips over herself like 5 different times in a row. And I think ends up hitting the teacher with like either a bit of, I think she ends up rolling onto the teacher.
Yeah, she just falls on top of him.
Yeah. And she's like, I failed, didn't I? And the principal's like, believe it or not, I've seen worse.
And she's enrolled into Hexside, and the hijinks ensue yet again.
So, admittedly, I think there's a specific part of this episode that annoys me a little, right? And I'd say it's the only time throughout this block of episodes where I was ever annoyed. And the reason why is because, okay, so a bit of background on the actual plot of this episode. Luz tries to basically do, she has to enroll in not necessarily in a coven, but she has to choose a specific path of magic. And she chooses potions and immediately is like, this is boring. I want to do all the other stuff. And she ends up trying out, I forget exactly what it's called. Basically, she picks up like a crystal ball. Oracle. And she basically picks up a crystal ball and gets caught doing that And so she gets sent into the 10th track of magic, the detention track, for people who have tried to do multiple tracks of magic, because that's not allowed in this universe. And so they spend some time in the detention room. She's with like these 3 other people. Well, I guess one of them's a dog, but 3 other people.
They're Viney, Gerbo, and Barkus, and I hope you didn't get too attached to them because as of right now, their development throughout the rest of the series is pretty much non-existent.
You know, the first time, like, I was going through this episode, before, like, we got to the very end where I realized that wasn't where it was going, was, like, I thought these were going to be, like, recurring side characters, and Luz was going to basically practice... Basically, she was going to continue being sort of a criminal in the school, in a sense, where she's sneaking around, learning all the different tracks of magic illicitly, without the teacher's permission. Obviously, that'd make certain future events of the show kind of impossible if she always had to, like, sneak around to get to classes or, like, listen in on them. But that's where I thought it was going at first, and I was kind of excited for that, because one of my favorite parts of the show's structure is that she's literally banned from the magic school and has to spend all her time with, like, this criminal. But she doesn't continue being a criminal. So anyway, she spends time with these other people in the detention track, and she gets sent to their secret hideout, which is basically this place where they're able to go all around the school. But then, one of the other people in detention, I forget her name, but she...
Viney?
Miney?
Viney.
Viney.
The one with the fish hook in her ear?
Yeah, Viney. She goes near the door to the hideout, and sure enough, how am I forget? Willow.
There's a misunderstanding where she overhears
Yeah.
Willow and Gus trying to bust Luz out of detention because at first she was like, "I'm too good for detention. I'm not able to learn anything in here."
That is what annoys me about the episode. The misunderstanding.
Yeah, that also annoyed me too. That it feels lame for a show as original and like creative as this to fall back on such a tired cliche and trope.
Well, see, I don't even hate
the story.
I don't even hate misunderstandings all the time. I think I'm kinder on misunderstanding plots than most people, actually. And I think there are times when where it is warranted and where it fits with the story. But my main issue is that, like, Luz is made to feel like garbage for something that completely isn't her fault. Because back when she said, "Oh, I'm not fit for detention," it's like, well, she didn't know the people here were nice. She wasn't even putting them down. She was just saying, like, I shouldn't be restricted like this. Being restricted like this, I shouldn't be here. I should be out there learning magic. But instead, the people in the detention track take it as her personally insulting them, when that wasn't her intent at all. And then Luz has to apologize, saying, "I'm sorry for hurting your feelings." When it's like, but it's a misunderstanding. You should only apologize when it's actually your fault. Just clear up the misunderstanding. Except she can't clear up the misunderstanding because they're already mega pissed at her. And I wouldn't say I was fuming, but it was irking me quite consistently as soon as that plot began, basically. And for that reason, I'd probably consider it the worst episode of these blocks, just because it was the only one to annoy me.
Yeah, I would be more charitable towards this episode if the detention kids played more prominent roles in the story. But straight up, I know Viney will play a slightly bigger role later, but as far as the other two go, they are background characters.
And the ending of this episode basically sets up Luz being able to explore all the different tracks when this monster pretending to just be a school inspector from the Emperor's Coven she basically turns out to be an imposter, a sus imposter, a monster who is taking
A
on the school.
basilisk.
A
A
basilisk.
basuslisk.
I hate you. But anyway, Luz and all the other kids in detention end up taking it out with multiple different branches of magic, and the school principal is like, you know, you shouldn't be doing this, but even I can tell that like punishing you after saving the school would make me look like a real big asshole. So screw it. I'm gonna let you learn multiple branches of magic, and Luz chooses them all and decides to basically become an all-rounder, someone
She's gonna be the
wild
most
with the
powerful
magic.
witch because she's gonna know all the magic.
Pretty much.
She's gonna have all the Final Fantasy job roles.
And that's about all I have to say for the episode for now. Do you have anything else to say?
You forgot about the Amity gay yearning.
The Amity gay what?
The yearning when Luz like checks into one of the doors to be like, hey, I wonder where this door leads to.
Oh,
and Amber's
that!
like, so you two go to the same school now. That doesn't change anything. And then it gives the gayest sigh you've ever heard in your life.
You know, honestly, I didn't even see that as anything particularly gay. I mean, it gets a lot more blatant later on, obviously. But I sort of interpreted the scene as just her being stuck in her own head, because that is a big part of her character, where she is constantly doubting herself and like overthinking everything. And she talked about Luz a lot in her diary too.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Maybe she thinks she's cute.
The king subplot is also very entertaining for how little it shows up.
Oh yeah, King. God, I absolutely love the King subplot in this episode.
And this is how he does this complex math equation, like, and that is how best to steal a pie off a windowsill.
And like the class loves him. They're like, "Yo, this is so useful."
Finally, something we can use.
And then at the end, he
I wish they taught me to
unfortunately
steal pies off windowsills in school.
Oh, dude, that'd be so much more useful.
Thanks,
than calculus.
DeSantis.
And unfortunately, King is not instated as a permanent teacher of the school, even though he's better than every other teacher here and teaches the most useful life lessons.
Like how to eat trash.
And how to properly scratch yourself. Spoiler alert, there is no wrong way.
The humor is solid.
And now it's time for episode 14, which I say this very often in the podcast, but when a show is really good, there are times when I just space out and forget to take notes. And this was that episode for me, where I literally have a single note about this episode, which says, "Good episode and good message about not ignoring friends." And that is all I wrote down.
This episode has a surprising amount of like impact within the fandom, more so than the show itself, because you could take this episode out of the show entirely and not much would change about the story. It definitely helps bolster Luz and King's relationship, but yeah, you could do away with it and not much of value would be lost, because it's just kind of a nice slower episode. But there's one line in particular that the fandom likes to parrot whenever something happens in the show, narrative wise. This mama is ready for trauma, and then often followed with something like top 10 biggest lies ever told. We'll get back. Maybe we'll even revisit by the end of this podcast, this block of episodes.
So you say not much of value would be lost, and in a narrative sense, I do agree. But I think just how much it solidifies how close King and Luz are. Like, sure, it gets brought up again later, but it's like this episode did so much at establishing that, where it starts off with Luz about to go to school, and King and her are just making dumb bread puns. And
Oh yeah, this is still a good episode of
Yeah.
television. I'm not knocking it, bro. Every time I go and get the mail now, I play the Hootie scene in my head. I'm just like I walk into the front door, and in my head I'm just going, the mail.
that was a
Yes,
really
but
good
I'm about to
Hootie
throw up.
impression. And I love Ida's remark where it's like, every single time they just do this for an hour straight. And then Luz,
I love everyone's disgusted reaction to Hootie just the retching to throw up all the mail that he eats. He can't just like put it in his mouth and deliver it one by one. He has to vomit all of the letters and the packages.
all right, Neon, hear me out for a little bit, all right, on the subject of Hootie. I have a bit of a fan theory, right? Hootie's gonna be the final villain. I'm calling it right now. And the reason
he is
why...
the most powerful life form in fictional history.
Yes.
He solos Goku 1,000 times over.
No, not only is he a powerful life form, right? But his Joker backstory is already... Dude, it's been set up since episode 1, right? I'm calling it now. Hootie,
That
he's
everyone
like this...
ignores him.
Yeah, Hootie's like this, unsocial, socially awkward owl, right? And, he finally finds this group of weirdos who are just as weird as he is. So he thinks. But turns out these aren't his people. They're just as annoyed by him as everyone else, and they just ignore him all the time. And deep down, he's resentful of them. Dude, I'm calling it, right? Hootie's Joker backstory is going to cause him to become the final villain, right? There's no way this doesn't happen.
It would be fitting that the final boss of the Owl House is the Owl House itself.
Exactly.
And I shan't spoil, and I have no basis for even what I'm about to say other than just guessing on what could happen because in season 3 because of the end results of season 2. But there is a slight possibility that you're not 100% off the mark. I don't think Hootie is going to turn complete. He's not going to go full Joker mode. But what you're saying might hold some water.
Bro.
But that's all I'll say on that.
Later in this arc, Hootie gets an eye patch, and I'm just imagining him in a deep, gravelly voice saying, "Society keeps on putting me down. Owls like me have no place in this world. So I'm going to take the world with me."
Yeah,
that's
I
happening.
believe Hootie can end the world if he wanted to.
See?
He just chooses to hold back
Yeah,
for everyone
he-
else's sake.
Just all the time, just constantly holding back the urge to rip everything apart. That is Hootie. So anyway,
When a
Blight-
nice guy fully hoots, the devil comes.
So Luz ends up having a day off of school because of a pixie invasion or pixie infestation at their school. So they end up going to the fair. And at first it's supposed to be just a King and Luz day, but then Willow and Gus end up finding Luz and King at the fair. And all of a sudden, Luz starts paying attention to them way more than King. And King's just basically completely left out. So he decides... Well, no, he gets approached by one of the old villains from, I forget exactly what episode, and I also forget his name. Do you remember it?
Tibbles?
Yeah, Tibbles. Tibbles puts on I wouldn't call it a disguise, because you'd have to be an idiot not to see it. However, King is an idiot. So Tibbles puts on a mustache, and then pretends to be... like this guy other than Tibbles who sells King a potion that can make people, as he puts it, disappear. And then you just tap your cheeks and they come back. So, temporary thing. So King decides to spray Willow and Gus with the potion. Well, no, he doesn't decide to. He accidentally does it because he drops it. But it turns out it doesn't disappear them. It actually just shrinks them. And
Yeah, and then they get into all kinds of shrunken people wacky antics. I did have a criticism about this that I did notice on my first viewing, but now with the second viewing, I noticed that they took a sneaky little shortcut. They didn't redraw too many of the backgrounds for when they're small. Instead, they took a background and they zoomed in on it and then placed the characters over it. And it's not the prettiest effect because you're putting HD characters on a low res background, so they kind of stick out like a sore thumb and are not well composited.
I didn't notice that, honestly.
It was just something that, as I am watching the show again and taking notes on every aspect of it, something like that, it didn't slip through the cracks this time. But it's not also like not a deal breaker at all.
Yeah. Well, considering I have only one note for this episode, I wouldn't say I was necessarily paying as much attention to the fine details as you were. I was just absorbing the experience and enjoying my time with it. And yeah, the message of the episode is basically, hey, don't ignore your friends and don't be selfish like King does and try and take people's friends away from them so that you can have more time. Don't be a selfish asshole.
And then it's after this episode that we reach banger territory where the next 5 episodes are all like contenders for best episode in the season.
I would narrow that down to 2 episodes specifically as contenders for best episode of the season, but I cannot choose between them, and they're both a 10 out of 10.
So Understanding Willow is where the show, like, there's a dramatic, well, maybe not dramatic, but we've definitely, this is the point of the narrative where anything that you could even remotely consider or qualify as filler, like we were saying, you could take the last episode with the carnival out of the story, and like, yeah, you'd lose some character development a little bit, but like, it's not something that you could have worked into like maybe another episode with a stronger narrative relevant to the overarching story of the show. That is no longer the case. Every single episode, even stretching into season 2, is as important as the last one.
This first episode is about basically Willow and Amity's past relationship, where it was evident from the beginning that Willow and Amity used to be friends, but that Amity kind of turned on her, and this episode intends to delve into that through memories, having another jump into someone's memories episode, just like episode 19 of Gravity Falls.
And what a strange concept, and also that just screams like it's got to be a logistical nightmare to be able to just take out your memories with a pair of pliers.
That is frightening. And also, you can, like, even damaging one memory, like, you don't just forget that memory, you start to forget, like, basic things, like, Willow looks at her hand, like, what is this grabby thing? And it's like, oh, it's that easy to just completely render someone harmless and not know where they even are. Okay. That sounds terrifying, especially to have, like, they leave the classroom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't get why it seems like the last thing you'd ever want to do is take important memories of yourself out of your head and then leave them all by their lonesome.
Like, the teachers should, at the very least, be just eyeing these things like a hawk. Like, literally, even Ida, one of the most powerful witches, was like, I'm not entirely sure if we can bring her back to her original self, but you can try. And it's like, you left them lying around. No,
I also want to mention real quick, based Basha, not discriminating on what gender the ghost could have been, because they specifically say, or she says rather, you look like you've seen a ghost. Is there a ghost in the photo class? Are they cute?
You know, I didn't even pick up on that, but yeah.
And then Amity's like, yep, sure is, but they're all mine. Just very,
Yeah.
just a little, almost like a throwaway line, but it just shows what level that the creators are working on. That they're keeping the options open for these characters.
Yeah. And so the main gist of this episode is that one of the memories that Luz ends up taking out of Willow's head is of her and Amity together. I think I'm trying to remember the exact memory.
I think it was like a birthday or something.
Yeah, like a birthday party. That sounds right. And so Luz ends up flipping the photo around because she wants it proudly displayed and wants to, get Willow and Amity back together as best gals, best gal friends. But Amity ends up seeing that and is like, no one can know. No one can know that we used to be friends. So Amity, being completely responsible, decides to burn her face out of the memory, thereby damaging it. But because she's even more responsible, the fire spreads to all the different memories and turns Willow into basically someone who doesn't know anything, where she is, how anything works. And so the two of them, Amity and Luz, have to jump into Willow's memories in order to restore them all. Where by fixing certain parts of the memory, you can thereby fix it and restore it, and restore Willow to her old self.
And this is where we start to play the Owl House drinking game, where you take a shot every time Amity blushes around Luz.
You will die. I think I told you yesterday in group chat, like the Amity blushing compilation is getting stacked. Cause
that exists, by the way.
That exists? Wait, where is it? I need to find it. I need to
I'm sure it's on
bookmark
YouTube,
it.
but I would recommend not watching it right now until you've seen the entire show, because there
fair.
are spoilers.
Okay, true. But anyway, like it is a stacked compilation in this second batch of episodes. And
I wonder what it could possibly mean.
Oh, that won't be a question anymore, if it even was a question at this point in the series.
It's almost as if Amity, and I'm just spitballing here, maybe she might be one of them queers.
Perhaps.
Maybe she's girly pop.
And so Amity doesn't want Luz delving into the original memory of Amity, basically at a party, saying that, hey, yo, Willow, you're weak. I can't be friends with you anymore because you're just a weak little piss baby. And I hate you. And I want you dead. But
I remember that line. Maybe you got a different dub.
I was. Yeah, that was the Turkish dub. They cut that from the American one.
And they are being chased by the inner self of Willow's mind that's damaging all of the memories with Amity in them.
Yeah, because she is super mad at Amity for basically turning her brain dead. And so she basically wants Amity gone, wants to kill the real Amity too. Nothing but anger and fury. But it gets resolved when Amity ends up showing Willow one of her memories, which is that Amity lives in a very elitist household where we are proper young men and women in this family, and we do not associate with peasants and weak people. All right? So Amity, you gotta cut this Willow gal out of your life forever because she's just a weak little baby, a weak little peasant.
You're not allowed to be friends with the Asian.
I don't think they said that in particular.
I mean, I'm not trying to start a thing. I'm just saying it's not going to be the first time we see something like that. And with Amity's friends, and Luz is also technically a minority. So, you put two and two together.
Okay, that is interesting. So, Amity's very racist, apparently, family is like, no, bad. And so Amity, upon showing this to Willow's inner self understands and stops being so mad and starts putting together the memories, like helping them put together the memories once again. And all's well that ends well. And it ends with Willow and Amity not necessarily being friends again just yet, but understanding each other and knowing that each other isn't a bad person.
And that's going to get developed on in the future.
I am excited for that.
'Cause once again, we ain't even at the good part.
I do actually quite like the backstory that like it comes from her family specifically, because yeah, it's just really interesting. And I think that was probably one of the best ways they could have explained that away.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe Amity isn't an inherently bad or evil person, and maybe she was molded like this, probably against her will.
Yeah, she was like some of it is very much against her will, where at first she didn't want to cut herself off from Willow, but then as it went on and she started associating more and more with these people, she sort of slowly got conditioned into behaving and thinking like they do, where I'm like we're an elite family, screw all these peasants and minorities apparently. Amity racism arc. But anyway. And
that's probably for season 3.
season 3, there we go. But getting to know Luz and, you know, being more in the presence of these people who she once disregarded has made her realize that, like, hey, they aren't bad. I ought not to be thinking like this. And, you know, remembering back to her childhood and being like, hey, what I was told to be ain't who I really am. And I shouldn't be like this. And I want to hang out with Luz and co instead. And maybe hang out around Luz, especially.
And we get to see a little bit more of that with the next episode, which is one of the best in the entire show.
I was saying that 2 of these episodes are contenders for the best of the season. I wouldn't consider this one of them, but this is easily number 3.
Like, god damn, this ain't even one of the good ones to you? This ain't even in the contention?
I mean, it is one of the good ones. It's in the top 3. Like, come on, man. That is one of the good ones.
It must be a pretty fucking tight top 3 then.
It is a tight top 3, yes.
Yeah, Enchanting Grom Fight is just a beautiful episode.
It really is. It starts off with a very funny line of dialogue where King is basically Luz is letting King use the internet, and King's like, what bad things could possibly come from the internet? Oh, hey, did you know the Earth is flat, by the way?
And she's like, yeah, that's enough of that.
That is the second flat earther in this flat earther joke in this show. Yes, I kept count for some reason.
The world is a triangle. So there's this event at Hexside that's its own version of prom called Grom, named after the shape-shifting demon Grometheus, who has the power to turn into your worst fear. And he resides under the Hexside school building, and every Grom student is chosen to fight the demon and put it back to rest for another year. And Amity is selected as the Grom Queen, and this very much fucks with Amity because she has a really embarrassing fear that she doesn't want people to know about. So when she is chosen to be the Grom Queen, Luz tries to step up to the plate for her and be like, I'll take your place as Grom Queen, I will fight Grom, and I will face my own fears.
Yeah, basically Luz's continual habit of being, you know, very enthusiastic, biting off more than she can chew most of the time, Although she actually does a shockingly good job at fighting it off, which people are very impressed with her for overall. Even if she does end up sort of running away and letting it run loose in the school, she still does a very good job of fighting it off, at least for a while.
And this is where we see like the true, well, we saw the, you know, the bits and pieces of it in episodes like the fuck, what's it called? What was the snow episode called? Adventures in the Elements. That's what it's called. That one, and Understanding Willow. But this is where the Amity Yuri crumbs turn into Amity Yuri bites.
I think you're underselling it with bite there. Are you sure it isn't a whole ass mouthful?
No, that's for later.
Oh, so it gets even more.
Yeah, that's literally like not even just later. That's next episode, and then also next season. But you know, no spoilers, teehee.
It's not a spoiler, given how much this latter block of episodes has built to it, and also the fact that I was spoiled before this block of episodes. So, but yeah, it's not a spoiler.
Oh no, who did it?
I literally told you this last podcast. I was scrolling your Twitter timeline and figured out about it that way.
Well, you should have done your due diligence and bang your head against the nearest wall repeatedly until you forgot it.
This was before.
So that's on you, buddy.
I mean, yeah, I should have, but still. Although it hasn't affected my enjoyment of their budding relationship at all. Because, I mean, I'm a rom-com guy. I like romance in my shows. We're both Yuri fans. This is completely up our alleys. And there was no way I wasn't going to enjoy this, even with what I was spoiled on.
All the Lumity bits aren't incredibly enjoyable. Just seeing Amity like be so impressed by Lou's willing to take her place. This one says witch with a dark side, but this one says I'm an otter. Dark side.
That
very,
line
very
is
beloved
so
line
good
in the fandom. Amity just showing her dominance over Hootie by just trashing him.
That is, dude, I love how it cuts away from the scene to just show the window and all the sound effects. And it's like, that is so much better than showing it, because you get to be implied like how much
you get to imagine
utter violence has been
the
unleashed.
violence Amity inflicts upon Hootie.
Then in the next shot, it's just Hootie with like bandages and an eye patch.
And then the little meeting they have outside of Grom, and because Amity's got a note with her and trying to, maybe she's gonna give it to someone.
All right. So side note, this is the episode where I was just like all neurons firing, literally predicted the entire plot before it happened. I saw that pink paper, and just from the fact it was pink, I was like, all right, so Amity wants to ask out Luz from the prom. Or for the Grom, sorry. And then I saw Luz like worrying about her mom, and I was like, okay, so her worst fear is having to face her mom after all this time spent in the Boiling Islands. I was just full neurons firing, but it was very satisfying to see. Literally, my final note for the episode is, I called it! Woo! And then it's just like four paragraphs of woo.
Dude, the fucking face that Luz makes when she realizes that the monster's turning into her mom is fucking, like, one for the ages.
Pure horror. And, dude, like, throughout the episode, right, what got me is that the Grom fight happens in front of basically the entire school. Everyone who goes to Grom gets to see your worst fear. And it's like, that is just mortifying. Like, how does anyone do that? And I think
but you
that
get to
in
go
particular,
out with your crush, maybe. So, you know.
Yeah, but it's like, it really puts into perspective why people dread being Grom Queen / King so much. Where, Like, it's not even just that you have to fight a monster, and not even just that you have to be exceptionally skilled in order to fight the monster, but that you have to show your worst fear in front of everyone. And now everyone knows that Luz is afraid of people starting debates with her online because they don't argue in good faith, damn it.
You're not coming from a place of intellectual honesty, so this debate is pointless.
That line hit me so hard because I've been on Twitter, I've been in a Discord server filled with nothing but debate bros, and I know how frustrating these people are. So when one of Luz's worst fears is getting into an argument with a debate bro, I feel that. That would be one of the transformations my Grom monster would take. Oh, Prometheus.
A fedora wearing a fedora wearing neckbeard.
Literally, like, the profile picture is him wearing, like, some dude wearing a fedora.
Doesn't it say Milady?
Yeah, it says Milady.
It's very good. I love when Amity bumps into Luz and falls over, and she's like, "Watch it, nitwit!" But then immediately retreats and like, "Oh, sorry, Luz."
This is the episode where I showed you the screenshot and had it captioned "My Yuri radar is flashing red," where Amity is about to fall over into the mud, or I think it might have already fallen in. But
yeah,
Luz
she already fell in because Luz smacked her with a stick.
Oh yeah, and so Luz, picks Amity back up by the hands, and then they get in real close. After Luz picks her up, and then I forget what happens after that. I get the feeling like Amity probably jumps back embarrassed.
That's when Luz switches places with Amity.
Yeah.
And then they have that cute little heart-to-heart outside the Grom doors where Luz is in one of the weirdest fits I've ever seen. It's simultaneously a suit and a tutu.
It is bizarre, and I love it.
It fits her character well. I just would, much like, if I said last podcast, if I met Luz in real life without getting to know her first, I'd probably give her a swirly, and I would probably do the same to anyone I'd see wearing that fit in real life.
But Amity looks at it, and she's like, "That's cute. Weird,
That's my future wife,
but cute." I'm just imagining Amity in her head being like, "Unfortunately, this is the person who I have a crush on. God damn it! Why must life do me like this?"
I love the fucking "you going soft on me, Blight," and she fires back with "in your dreams." Bro, the Yuri bites are turning into
Luz is in
Yuri...
her dreams.
They're turning into Yuri choking hazards.
Not even just a mouthful. Now we're at choking hazard.
And then once we hit the dance, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Dude, the choreography for the dance as they take on the Grom monster is so immediately good. Pure serotonin. Like, that is one of the best scenes in the show right there. Actual Kino.
Yeah, the way Amity splits her legs to make the magic circle as she spins around, and then dips Luz as she gives her the fucking seductive eyes, and she flips open the glyph cards and then slaps one on the abomination.
The part that has stuck with me is when Amity falls into Luz's arms. It's so good.
This is one of the best animated sequences in the entire show. They wanted to give it special attention for a reason.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Owl House. Most of the time it's looking, really good, I'd say. I do like the art style and the look of the Boiling Islands, and there are a lot of great set pieces. But then randomly at times, always for big explosive moments, like the fight scenes, particularly between Ida and Lilith, they'll just go ham with the animation, and this is one of those times where it's just
Yeah,
like,
for the fight scenes in particular, that's when they tend to up the budget and the effort for the animation. And this technically counts as a fight scene, I guess, even though there's only one attack thrown. But it's more who cares about the fighting when you're watching these two little girls just have like be in love.
I
Just
mean,
having
like I
fun.
said, I'm a rom-com guy. This dance to me is just the purest form of serotonin. I could watch this all day, 24 hours straight, and I'd never get bored of it.
That fun fact, that dance sequence is my subscriber notification on Twitch.
I understand why that is.
Yeah, and on my Elgato Stream Deck, my screensaver for when it's in sleep mode, it used to be the one shot of right when the dance begins and Amity and Luz pull each other close and their like faces are practically a centimeter away, and they're illuminated by the moon. That was my screensaver on my Stream Deck until it got replaced with a different Lumity moment in season 2. Which
That is
we'll
exciting
get
to hear.
in due time. And it was revealed that Amity's fear was getting rejected by the person she wanted to give the letter to. And then when Luz asks, hey, who did you want to ask out, by the way? And Amity's like, nah, you know what? It doesn't matter, bro. And she throws away the paper, and it uncrinkles, and it's fucking Luz, and we have our first Disney lesbian.
I'm just gonna, real quick, take a moment to applaud it.
Well, I'm pretty confident. At least it's the first canon one, and not just one that's like implied.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's the first one. I don't know anything about Disney, but I am
I
applauding
know Luz
because
is the first bisexual protagonist that they have.
I am simply applauding because Yuri in show.
The Yuri is real.
Yeah, the Yuri is real. Dude, it isn't bait like I'm so used to. It just is real. And episode 17, the next episode, gives us even more of it with Amity at probably her most likable and enjoyable to see on the screen. Where she's just
she turned against her old crew.
Yeah, but what's even more enjoyable to me is just seeing her around Luz, just completely blushy and
Yeah,
stuttery.
this is when she just enters full gay panic mode.
Yeah.
And so a fun fact about this episode. This was the episode that got me to check out the Owl House. Cause it was I was just on Twitter, you know, as you do, and then I see the Owl House trending on the sidebar for what I perceive to be probably the first time, at least that I saw, back in around late August of 2020. And I was like, huh, that name seems familiar. I think that was one of the new Disney Channel cartoons recently. So I clicked it out because, you know, I'm a Western animation boy. I'm recently bereaving the loss of Steven Universe and BoJack Horseman, and perhaps I'm looking for a new cartoon to fill the void. And there's this one clip in particular that got my attention, and people like humming about it. I'm like, huh, I wonder why they're giving this one green-haired character so much attention. And it's the clip of when Luz asks Amity to join the team, and she's like, me on a team with you, running around in cute uniforms, sweating?
I love the
like,
emphasis on sweating.
I love the voice crack that Mae Whitman gives.
It is perfect.
I know it exists because it has to have, because the fandom's so big, but I just want to see the YouTube videos of either Katara voice lines from Avatar being put over Amity, or Amity voice lines being put over Katara.
I have not seen Avatar, so I don't understand that reference.
Damn. Well,
Oh,
we
wait,
gotta
hold
add
on.
that to the podcast at some point.
Wait, is Katara the main heroine of the show?
Yeah, she's the waterbender.
Okay. All right, I know who that is now.
Yeah, they have the same voice actor. In fact, the Amity voice is just pretty much the Katara voice.
That makes me way more interested in checking out Avatar suddenly.
Hey, you know what? If we do cover Avatar on the Castaway anime podcast, that'll just piss off so many people.
Why?
Not because
I get it now.
not because it's a bad show. It's a lot of people consider it to be a masterpiece, and they're probably right. It's just the debate on whether Avatar counts as anime or not.
Because we're called Castaway anime, so people are gonna be like, "Do you seriously think it's an anime, bro? What the hell, bro?"
And we'll be like, yes. Even though it isn't.
It absolutely
before the
is not.
pitchforks get raised and the torches get lit.
I mean, it'd be funny too if we ever do an Avatar cast, just constantly call it an anime just to bait people.
I mean, Avatar's coming back, so
It's coming back.
it's probably yeah, there's I think a animated movie in the works.
Oh, the last time they made a movie of Avatar, I recall it not going so well.
Yeah, but this time it's like actual Avatar content, not the fucking Shyamalan schlock.
Okay, this is wildly off topic, but have you seen Legend of Korra, and do you like it?
I have not seen any of Korra. I have heard mixed things about it. It is very much in the one of those shows in the camp of you either love it or you hate it, and there's no in between.
That is what I can tell of Korra's reception from a faraway distance just looking in. But anyway, back to the Owl House. This episode is primarily about one of the friends that Amity left behind, basically, to become one with the Luz, Willow, Gus crew. And she's someone who's really into this sport called... I forgot.
Grudge Bee.
Grudge Bee, there we go.
And before we continue on that, I think it's important to we kind of glossed over this from the end of the last episode, which is incredibly important, and maybe some of the comments are screaming at us, being like, "How could you forget about fucking fake Luz?"
Fake Luz.
Unless you also forgot about fake Luz.
I also forgot about. Hold on, was this like an after credits sequence?
No, this was the last scene in the episode. This is where Luz is sending the text to her mom. And,
I remember that now. The letters.
Yeah, and like all of those letters that she's been getting. Someone's been impersonating her.
Yeah, I wonder who that is. I do have some questions about it. But I guess I presume it's answered in season 2. Don't tell me if it is or not.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I might be misremembering something, but I'm trying to remember if this was the episode where we get to like see the silhouette.
I don't recall there being a silhouette shown.
Oh wait, I'm wrong. That's a season 2 thing. Okay, so maybe. Yeah, someone is there is an imposter among us.
Fuck
and
you.
Someone is impersonating Luz and sending letters to her mom from summer camp, apparently.
I mean, now that I remember that, there is sort of a fake out at the end of the season where, in the final episodes, like Luz is looking over to see like another one of her, but then it's revealed that like she's just an illusion cast by, I think, Gus.
I think.
Yeah, Gus is the one who casts illusions. So
Yeah. Gus is the one. I'm just trying to remember that scene from the last episode of the season. I don't think I remember that one.
She's looking through a window down on the bridge where they're still being led around the Emperor's palace. And Luz is
okay. I thought that was like the end of an episode, but no. That was that was something else.
Yeah. So anyway, episode.
But yeah, there is a faker.
Guess we'll see how that wraps up in season 2. Episode 17, as I was saying, is primarily about one of Amity's old friends who really She's very haughty and self-important, particularly in Grudgeby season, because she is the ace of the team, and Grudgeby is like this super popular, basically the Owl House's parody of what the
Quidditch.
Quidditch.
Yeah.
And so she basically Willow's starting to get kind of popular because she's growing these plants, and she grows them to look like people's faces, and that makes people really like her. Starting to get pretty big, and
She's being more like herself and less like someone pretending to like be something they're not good at.
yeah, and she's starting to really break out of her shell now that Amity's back with her, and now that she's no longer being bullied by Amity. So Amity's old friend, seeing this, gets mucho jealous and decides, all right, I'm gonna bully the fuck out of you. I'm just gonna bully you relentlessly and horribly. I'm gonna destroy you.
I'm gonna send you death hexes. Which is a joke in the show that I laughed at a lot. Cause while Ida's sorting the mail, she's like, junk mail, death hex, throws it away in the trash can, and then the trash can implodes and disappears.
I remember that gag. It's so funny. This show is so funny. And then after being bullied, Luz decides enough is enough, so she goes to Amity for advice. Amity is very blushy, not knowing really how to communicate, but she's like, she only speaks in Grudgeby terms. So Luz goes back and says, Willow is going to fight you in Grudgeby, even though Willow said no such thing. And there's a training montage, and Luz eventually ends up pushing them too far, where it's never something they signed up for in the first place, and they don't want to do that because it's like this, they're going up against pros basically, but they're pushed too far, and Luz ends up having to apologize to them, and eventually they do end up taking them on in Grudgeby and winning. So
they don't win. Well, they don't.
Oh wait,
win,
they okay, so they almost win, but then the second Harry Potter parody comes in, where
Basha catches like the golden whatever the fuck.
Then
Luz is like,
hold on,
it's like, if that's the whole point of the game, why are we doing all this other bullshit?
Basically a criticism of Harry Potter just in the Owl House.
It's goofy, it's fun.
It literally gives her like 999 points. Instantly wins the game.
Yeah, if that thing is so important, why is the point of the game not to catch that thing? And we also get the first important B plot in a while.
What was the B plot of this episode again?
God damn. All right. Lilith comes by to the Owl House to try to take Ida away,
now I remember.
But then they play Grudgeby together.
Oh yeah, and that's the other bit of Ida and Lilith development that is really important for the finale, where they're
they've come to blows.
Yeah, they're fighting each other, but they're also somewhat friendly. And at the end, Lilith's freaking out like, what do I show the Emperor? And Ida's like, here, take my ring and say I put up a real good fight. But you got this ring. So it proves you at least met me and at least did something to me.
Yeah, I love how Hootie is just like, I'm an unbiased participant. And like just is like a stage hazard for both of them.
Yeah, I love the shot of him like opening his mouth wide while he's like assimilated with the ground, and presumably if they fall in, it's just going to be an endless vortex of doom and despair. He wants Ida to fall in there, that's part of his villain arc. He's waiting for one of them to fall in there, and then he's never gonna let them out. I wouldn't count on Hootie to ever yak up Ida.
Maybe you're right. Maybe Hootie is going to stab him all in the back. Maybe
He's-
he's working for the Emperor.
Like I said, Hootie is the final villain. And then
We get to
episode
see Amity.
uh
She gets over her gay panic and is able to join the team and severs her ties with Basha.
oh yeah. That was a really good moment. I like that Amity's there, and then the reason why is because Gus is in the bleachers with like his flags on like this hospital machine.
Because they're both broken.
Yeah. Good episode. Mucho good episode. But remember when I said that there were 2 episodes that I thought could both compete for the spot of number 1 best episode in the show? And that
Both of
I
these?
thought, yeah, these final 2 episodes, I saw them this morning. They are both like masterpieces. 10 out of 10.
Game changers.
Also
'Cause
game
this
changers.
is where the plot gets ratcheted up to 11.
So, I guess this is jumping the gun a lot, but what is it with both this and Gravity Falls? Their plots revolving around the opening of a portal.
That and Amphibia, by the way.
What is it with all these shows being about opening portals to, like slowly constructing a portal, presumably finding all the ingredients? I assume there's going to be maybe not a MacGuffin, but like something else they need in order to power up the portal, and there's going to be some kind of like plot
You're not off
tension.
base.
And so
You are
this is-
definitely on the right track.
It's like this is exactly how it went in Gravity Falls. Not to say it's plagiarizing
It's
or
almost
anything.
like the shows are incestuous or something.
You know, I'm not upset about it at all, but it's like it's just something I noticed that both of these shows are about opening up a portal.
The only bad thing I can say about these 2 episodes is that Amity is sadly Best Girl Amity is written out.
I mean, she kind of has to be since there's not really room for her in these episodes.
I suppose, but at the
I
same
mean,
time, I mean,
maybe-
like, come
I
on.
mean, I guess it would be possible, but like you wouldn't have time to do any meaningful development with her, is what I'm saying. You know, she'd kind of just be there to be blushy like she was in the previous episode.
Then she could have helped with Hootie and not Hootie, Willow and Gus. Cause hey, here's a cool dynamic that they might have been able to touch on. Remember when Amity was Lilith's prodigy?
Oh, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, wouldn't it be something if like she turned against her to help lose out?
Okay,
And, like, that could-
You know what? You're actually convincing me.
Yeah, and now all we get, their only meaningful interaction is her looking at a poster being going like, shut up.
To be fair, that is an enjoyable moment. But on the topic of Hootie being the ultimate supervillain, not even a supervillain, a mega villain, an ultra villain, right? So at the beginning of this episode, Lilith and a bunch of the Emperor's soldiers or guards or whatever basically come in to raid the Owl House, and Hootie, Joker Hootie, takes out all his rage on society and Ida and Luz and King and the world out on these poor soldiers and just mauls them, completely obliterates them, and then sits down their ragged corpses for tea. Do you think this is? Do you think
He's
this
too
owl?
powerful.
His soul has been corrupted beyond repair. Like he is the supervillain. And then Luz.
He is a demon. He is a monster.
And honestly, like in terms of just pure comedic entertainment, this owl tube taking on a bunch of soldiers and just saying the most random nonsensical stuff the entire time, only like kicking ass in that Hootie way, the way only he can. One of the most entertaining things I've seen just period. It is so fun.
Fucking sleepwalking, sleep-hooting.
Why is your Hootie impression so good?
It's not that good. I can't match the
It's
the
way better
top
than
tier
mine would
Alex Hirsch
be.
performance.
Although yeah, his performance is top tier. The part that
And
gets me is when Luz like
And
looks.
he fucking one-shots Lilith.
Oh yeah, he does. Like we keep on saying, he's just too powerful. He could take on Goku. He could destroy the world.
Bellos would not be able to stand a chance.
Dude, Bellos would be one-shotted. And my favorite moment of the Hootie stuff is when Luz like peeks through the bushes to see Hootie having a tea party with the beat up guards. Like, I love messing you up, but I like talking to you more. I like drinking tea and talking
I like
to you
this part
more."
of her playdates more, or some shit like that.
Like
And
it
and
is
it's just like, yep, all right. Just pays it no mind and keeps going.
So this episode follows Luz and Co. on a field trip to the Emperor's Palace. And they get greeted by one of the members of the palace and presumably a member of the Emperor's Coven or something like that. And one of-
Kikimora, right?
Kiki, that sounds right. Kikimora. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
And one of her first lines that I noted is, "These islands are a place of peace and prosperity." And I just think back to the rest of the series and all the torment we've witnessed where just throwing a bacon on someone's head can have a
I was literally
monster
about to
fall
say.
from the sky. And I'm just sitting there like, you're lying. You are so lying. Turns out, even in Owl House land, even in the Boiling Island, government officials do nothing but lie.
There's like a line in the carnival episode where when Willow and Gus show up to the carnival and they're like, "Oh yeah, Tibble sent us an invitation. We know that it's probably a trap, but who cares? Carnival." It's just life there. That's just
Yeah.
the reality of this hell on earth.
Like, the entire point of this show is that the Boiling Isles are misery in most regards. And so to have the characters say these islands are a place of peace and prosperity, it's like, you instantly know she's full of shit. And so Luz, at first she doesn't want to go on the field trip, right? Because she isn't too fond of the Emperor's Coven. She's like her newfound de facto mother, as long as she's in the Boiling Isles, is basically the number one wanted criminal of the Emperor's Coven. And so obviously
And
Luz
the
ain't gonna
curse
be.
is getting worse.
Yes, that is a detail in this. Very relevant to these two episodes. And so Luz decides, okay, like she isn't gonna go, but then she sees on like this pamphlet that is showing all the stuff at the Emperor's Palace, and there's this, I think this crown or something like that can heal any curse. And
Oh, yeah, it's a hat.
a hat. And Luz is like, I need that. And so she comes up with this scheme to to basically steal the hat. And obviously that does not go well because this is the Emperor's
They're
Palace.
successful for but a second, and then a voice rings out being like, because they're like, "Oh, we'll just take it and bring it back. No one will ever know." And then a voice whispers, "I will know."
That is such a perfect moment. It is so great. And another.
And then they are caught by Lilith.
Yes, so another string of plot in this episode is that Lilith needs to get Ida in right now, or else she will be kicked out from the Emperor's Coven. And so she is desperate to get Ida. She has until, I think, twilight of that day to get Ida into the clutches of the Emperor. And so when Lilith ends up stumbling into Luz, she's like, "Yo, Okay,
My G.
I can just use you as bait. And one of my notes here is we talked a lot about voice acting in the first part of the podcast, but this is probably like one of my favorite deliveries in the entire show so far, where Lilith says, "Why, if it isn't Ida's human pet, how perfect." And like
And
the
she
way,
says it with like such like venom in her voice.
yeah,
Like treat like
it is
immediately the use of the word pet is like, because she didn't exactly treat Luz with like too much respect when they first met, but she didn't like talk like too much down to her.
like my
But
favorite
she just
part is her tone of voice when she says how perfect. Like it is so chilling.
I think the voice actor for Lilith, her name is Sissy Jones. Yeah, she does a good job, as does everyone.
Yeah, the voice acting in this show is very mucho good.
And we get to see, speaking of good performances, how do you feel about Bellows?
His voice is quite chilling, I would say. His voice actor does a good job at sounding intimidating, and that's what a good villain ought to be. So I'd say nailed the performance.
And how do you feel about like what's your first impression of him as the from this episode in particular? As cause you look at the guy and you see what he does and you like, this is like the prototypical, or like like this is like your standard Disney villain right here.
So far his place in the story is mostly to be basically the soul corruptor. Well, not the soul corruptor, because obviously the Boiling Isles are just a messed up place in general, but the person who is restricting all witches and wizards from
The man behind the slaughter.
basically. He's the one who he states that he is following the will of the Titan. And he is enacting, he's nothing more than a vessel to enact the Titan's will. And the Titan wills that everyone practices just one form of magic, that they restrict themselves, that they do things through the coven system, and that only those in the government can use all the covens. And that sort of like enacting that system on its own basically just immediately makes him like an interesting villain. Like, okay, why? Well, obviously it's at least partially for power, but like, what does the Titan have to do with this? Why does he want to open a portal to the human realm? What does he need it for? What does the Titan's will have to do with opening the portal? Is the Titan's will even real? There's definitely a lot of questions with his plan, and I'd say that makes him pretty immediately interesting in terms of his narrative relevance. In terms of his personality, he is intimidating, and not much else, honestly. But
Yeah, I love how when he just watches the fight between Ida and Lilith, and he just remains like unimpressed. All he does is observe, and when it's done, he just walks away back into his castle.
he is always stoic, I will say that. And that is part of what makes him intimidating, where he never... I mean, I guess when Luz basically pokes him in the eye with an icicle and cracks his mask, he does...
Turns him into Sans Undertale.
Yeah. And he does get a little angry, but otherwise, he is mostly just always calm. Even when Ida and Lilith literally break out of their cage in front of the public, he's just like, this was according to the Titan's will that they escape, but they will never be the same. So let this be a lesson to you to never defy the word of the Emperor's Coven and the Titan. That definitely isn't the exact quote, but I think I got the gist of it.
Yeah, then Lilith, going back a little bit, Lilith captures Luz, sends a message back to Ida to lure her out to the castle, and then they have the big fight.
The animation on this lad is spectacular. This is probably the single most exciting scene in the entire show, where the choreography is on point, the animation is going ham, just nothing but pure visual spectacle and pure action. And it got me hyped.
I will say also, having already seen season 2, I don't think the show, in terms of like big fuck off action scenes, we have not reached this peak again yet. We've come close a few times. It's not like the action choreography and animation dramatically goes downhill, but in terms of like fight scenes, this is definitely the best one.
I am not surprised, because it is just plain, like, the choreography is just a nonstop stream of just this back and forth
Powers back and forth.
Yeah, this constant back and forth. One of my favorite pieces of choreography is when Ida is literally like making pieces of the bridge move over to the side because Luz is in the ball rolling and about to roll off, but she like takes
very good shot.
Yeah, and it's just something I've noticed about the action scenes in this show. Whenever they're putting in like those huge amounts of animation, is that there's always an emphasis on making sure that like it never slows down for even a second, but it's not disorienting. They managed to make
very
it all
easy to follow.
Yeah,
there's a lot of kinetic motion going on, and it's just plain simple good ass animation.
You were saying like kinetic motion, and I think the best part of the fight scenes is that like that kinetic motion is always sort of like bringing you through the fight naturally while never slowing down, where it's always just constant motion, but you're never disoriented because it's just putting you through the fight so naturally.
Yeah, there's a lot like every motion you see in the fight has like a cause and effect. It's not just like kind of like a Dragon Ball Z thing where they'll just like be throwing out a whole bunch of punches and they're going so fast you can't even tell like where one punch ends and where the other begins. But here it's like you see when Ida's chasing after Luz, who's in the ball, like about to fall off, she like has a split second where she's like, or Ida like comes out of her yellow like speed mode or whatever, where she turns like a yellow ball of light to move around, and like she goes to Luz and then like immediately jumps back into it because as she's like leaning into a leap forward to go after her. It's very well choreographed.
This is absolutely top tier fight scene choreography. And
meanwhile, the story is going ham at the same time because Ida's like no longer fucking around with Lilith anymore. He's like, you hurt my human, I'm going to fucking end your life.
This episode in particular has like probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest emotional high. Yeah, I'd say the biggest emotional high of the series so far, except for maybe the next episode, where...
Yeah, so if we're going just off, not counting the last episode, so far, no question. People on Twitter were like, what the fuck?
So, the main emotional crux of these episodes, it's sort of twofold, where Ida is about to basically die. She describes it as a fate worse than death, becoming the Owl Beast forever. And so we have the possibility of Ida having a fate worse than death, never being the same again, never being able to speak, and the like absolutely jaw-dropping reveal when Lilith accidentally lets it slip that she was the one who cursed Ida.
How surprised that you were that when you first heard the twist?
You know, I was certainly shocked. I wouldn't necessarily say surprised because it instantly was like, oh, that makes complete sense. Okay, I get it now. But I definitely didn't predict it.
I I unfortunately had that part spoiled for me by Twitter when I
No.
was checking out like all the talk about the show. Because this episode was also the one that one of the ones that like came out as I was getting into the show. I the very last episode, Young Blood Old Souls, is the one that I started with. Well, I didn't start watching the show with that episode, but by the time I caught up to the Owl House, that was the newest episode. So I jumped on the train when season 1 ended.
It is very unfortunate that you got spoiled for that, I imagine.
In retrospect, it wasn't that big of a surprise because, like, in order for the twist to work and not feel like an ass pull that we have to figure out who cursed Ida, it had to be a character we knew. And of all of the culprits that it could have been, Lilith was the only one that made sense. Because she's the only recurring antagonist directly opposing Ida. Unless, you know, they go for the real plot twist and it was Tibbles the whole time.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, like, if it had to be any of the pre-existing characters in the show so far, then Lilith was the one. But I didn't predict it.
But it's the sting of the betrayal that hurts the most. Because you see Ida like, wait, what? It was you? And then immediately that turns to blind rage.
And then I'd say the second emotional crux of this episode is Ida and Luz's relationship, where, you know, Ida is not really the type of person to immediately be like, yo, I love you so much, you're the best. But in this episode, or no, I think it might be the next episode, but either way, like, this arc is all about basically making Ida admit what she felt the entire time, what was obvious, but that she never really let show in such raw terms as she does in this arc, which is that she really does care for Luz, way more than she wants to admit. And it's very endearing.
And Lilith uses this as a weakness against Ida, so she pushes Luz off the bridge into the spike pit below, and Ida uses the last of her magic to save her, and Lilith is like pushing her down, trying to get Ida to use the last of her magic to let the curse take hold. And then, like, as the effect happens and her eyes are like slowly morphing into like black pools of like void, and she's like, listen, kid, I'm going away and I don't think I'm gonna be able to like come back, so like watch after King and Hootie, and thank you for being in my life. And like it Luz as like just pleading with Ida to be like, no, don't stop.
Dude, it's such an emotional scene. And that brings us into episode 19, the final of the season, where I mean, I was like,
gone full beast mode, and then the fucking Lilith being like hitting her with the cold hard, go back to your world, human. This one is ours. As she takes Ida away and kicks Luz out of the castle, and then the slow walk home, and then we find out that Ida was planning a surprise for Luz to give her the special witch cape that deflects magic or like helps repel it a bit, as a present for just being a cool friend. And then King jumps out of the cake and like, hey, where's Ida? And Luz just starts breaking down.
It's such a heart-wrenching episode. Yeah, pretty much every... this episode is just a non-stop rush of Kino. Just pure... because at least on my... I mean, I'm not sure if they had it in what you watched it on, but when the site that I watched the episode on cut out the opening, I imagine it broadcast like that.
Oh yeah, they do that sometimes. Whenever, and also that's like kind of usually a forecast for being like, hey, we chose not to put in the whole theme song this time because we needed those few extra seconds to really, twist the knife in your gut for the story that we're about to tell.
And
And
yeah,
it's not the last time this is gonna happen.
this episode was certainly one worthy of having no opening, and it really set the tone for what I was about to go through. And I'd say that, like, it was difficult to stop watching the episode, I'll put it that way. Like, near the end, I had to take a bathroom break, and I was very, very sad that I had just the like minute or two that I have to
curse
spend.
the human endocrine system to be like, why the fuck like this is a design flaw, because if this is proof that God isn't real, because if he were real, he would have made it so that way that I wouldn't have to do this, because to prevent me from watching more Owl House right now.
Yeah, I was very much upset on a personal level that that I had to just spend 2 minutes away from the screen. It's like, why? Why would this happen? No, bring me back.
It's a bug, not a feature.
Exactly. And so Luz decides to go back to the palace with King in tow, because King's like, hey, yo, I think it's possible, right? But if you're going, I'm going, because I care about Ida just as much as you do. So they go off to the castle to free Ida. And Lilith, who was told that if she caught Ida and brought her to Belos, would have the curse lifted. Belos tells her, yeah, no, ain't happening. We're turning her to stone.
JK.
JK LMAO.
And Luz is out for fucking blood. She's like goes into full on beast mode. Well, first they were like, all right, how we have to like commit the most heinous crime to get to the conformatorium again. So what can we do? And they just walk on grass that says do not walk on the grass. Like, oh my god, as they look at the guard.
That is a top tier joke. All the jokes in this block of episodes are pretty much top tier. And
then like from this moment on, they're like, I think the jokes are like done with, and it's just we're going into full serious mode.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more, at least that I can remember, any jokes left in the episode. But that's okay, because it is pure dramatic tension.
And Luz now utilizing the power of the 4 glyphs that she has at her disposal. She, which is also a really cool aspect of the show that we neglected to mention, how Luz is getting stronger over the course of the show by, not by, like, oh, she has a new, she like, has a new, I was gonna say, you know, like, in, like, a shonen, she just, like, get a new spell, like, and be, like, taught it by someone, but she is picking them up through, like, studying magic in nature. Like when she is looking at flowers, she finds the plant glyph pattern on, I think, one of the leaves, in like in the veins of a leaf. And then when she has a fireball thrown at her by Basha, she takes the outline imprinted on the ball from the spell, puts it on paper, and now she's able to cast fire.
Okay, so on that,
like, I think that's cool.
Actually, I have a question, because in episode, I think it's episode 4 of season 1, how she figures out the light glyph is she takes a video of Ida performing the spell, and then she freeze frames on one specific frame of it where the glyph shows. So couldn't she replicate that for like every spell to learn the glyph for every spell?
The problem is, and they do address this in the show that later, that she is only able to see spell glyphs that come from nature. And I guess I'll just say right now, those 4 glyphs are the only like base glyphs that exist.
Okay,
like,
so those are like the only ones she can use.
Yeah, like light, fire, plant, and ice are the 4 elements.
So okay, so that sort of explains it away then.
And she's out for fucking Lilith's head. Gets taken into the conformatorium. One shots all the guards there. which one of the common criticisms of this episode is that it's a little strange how Luz was before this like low level witch who would get like pushed around by everyone around her, and yet now here she is one-shotting Emperor's Coven's guards by herself.
I mean, I can definitely see where the criticism comes from. I didn't notice it, honestly, and even now hearing it, it doesn't really annoy me.
It's
Even
it's,
if it
it's a
is-
nitpick.
Like, even if it is a little like, okay, yeah, that like fair enough, it doesn't really get on my nerves. Like, I would still consider
Emperor's
this.
Coven goons that don't have like proper names or characters tend to get like all the masked hooded goons just get shit on when they're supposed to be the elite. And, like even like Hootie just fucking embarrasses them.
Basically,
it's just whatever.
like stormtroopers from Star Wars.
They're the stormtroopers.
Exist to die.
Yeah. And so Luz is able to stumble upon Ida's cell, and then they have this really fucking heartbreaking thing where it's like, no, kid, you can't save me, but like you can take the portal and go home, so you like nothing bad happens to you. And then the hug she gives, I love you, Ida, I love you too, kid. Well, us weirdos are supposed to stick together, right?
Did you just like quote the entire conversation, or do you have it memorized?
Pretty well. They're some of like the most impactful moments of the whole
Yeah.
show.
The most impactful one for me was Ida just saying outright, "I love you," because it's something that like shit's real if Ida's admitting that she loves you. Like, come on.
She knows she doesn't have much time left, so she can't just like bullshit anymore.
And then eventually the cage begins to get raised, and Luz is like holding on for dear life, but Ida pushes her off and is like, "No, just let me die." Right?
Just like, go home, kid. And then Lilith tries to save her, but then Luz is just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, bitch.
Yeah, Luz and Lilith end up in a fight scene, but eventually Lilith explains how and why she cursed Ida, and it basically says like, "Hey, yo, I want to help you, right? Because I wanted to get her uncursed."
Yeah, the reason that she cursed her was that when they were kids, they were like pretty much inseparable. They were the best of friends. They had this really cute spell where they share each other's pain, so that way it's not too much for one person to bear. Just even when like Ida trips and cuts her like skins her knee as a kid, Lilith just comes over, casts the spell, and Ida's cut heals a bit, and then Lilith develops a cut on her leg that's about the same size, and like you can tell it like stings a bit, but like it makes Ida better, and just just the good visual symbolization of how close they are. And they wanted to go to the Emperor's Coven together at first, but they realized there's only one opening, and Lilith was like afraid that Ida was just a better witch than she was, so she thought her only way of getting into the Coven was to put a curse on her that at first she thought would just make her unable to like sabotage her at the showdown, at the duel. But then Ida's like, no, the Coven's not worth fighting my sister, so I'm just gonna give her the role, and Covens aren't really my thing anyway. And then the tragedy is that the curse that Lilith didn't even need to put on her at all consumes her, and now it's like pretty much handicapped her for the rest of her life.
I definitely really liked the backstory to how she got cursed and Lilith and all of that. Mucho Kino. I don't really have much to say about it other than it's good.
And then we get the first time Luz meets Bellows, and it is a very, very good moment at establishing just how much of a fucking monster Bellows is compared to everyone we've seen thus far. Like, the first thing Luz tries to do is be like, you gotta let my friends go or else, and she uses Albert to tap into magic and fight against Bellows, and then his reaction is to, like, stop the magic in place before it reaches his face, and she's like, I bet, and then just casually tosses her around and just, like, embarrasses her.
Yep, he is definitely not someone you want to fight. At least
He's
for
got
right
all these,
now.
like, cool, scary ass powers. Like, his design is already very intimidating because the mask. He's just like a hooded guy. He's got this mechanical staff for some reason. When everyone else's staff is like powered by a palisman, he eats palisman and like seems to get physically tired if he doesn't eat one. He takes a palisman and he like cuts them open and just consumes their souls, I guess.
Dude, all right, so I remember that scene. All right, so first of all, it's creepy just because there's like a beating heart above his throne. Like, that's just immediately disconcerting. Then Luz literally gets like so grossed out when he sees Bellows eating the palisman. Like visibly
it's a
recoils.
scary image.
Yes.
She licorice recoils. And then Bellows just goes around just kicking her ass. Loses scared shitless pretty much the entire time. Like when he teleports behind her and nothing personnels her, like the face that she makes, so she's like, "Oh shit," and then gets fucking ragdolled around the room. He tries to fly after him, like head on, and then a just giant monster appears from the ground beneath him and seems to, like, consume him. And then like Luz just lets out a terrifying shriek. And meanwhile, Bellows is taunting her the whole time because, like, oh, what's the matter? I thought you wanted to fight.
But eventually, Luz does get a little bit of damage on him by using an ice spell in order to impale his eye, which I'm sure wasn't a very pleasant experience. Cracks his mask a little bit, and he's like,
yeah, she doesn't even like reach his eye. All she just chips the mask off of it. And then like even that like scratch on him is just like enough for Bellows to be like, yeah, by the way, if you try anything else like that, I will fucking kill you.
Yeah, he like commends her first on getting a hit in, and then is like, but by the way, if you do that again, you're dead.
And then he starts negotiating with Luz because like you think that I want to invade the human realm, but the Titans will, that's not. It's not so boorish. I don't care for the owl lady. I care for what she has. I want the portal to the human realm. And if you want to free her, I will trade her life for the briefcase for the portal. But if Luz does that, she won't have a way home anymore.
What Luz ends up doing, which I thought was pretty clever, right? So she ends up giving him the portal to the human realm, but it has a bunch of notes on it for fire spells. So as she's, being let up towards the cage in order to free Ida and now Lilith and King, who have also been put into the cage, as she's going up, she destroys the briefcase, or the portal. It looks like a briefcase, at least.
Yeah.
And
now neither of them can get to the human realm. And so Luz basically has just stranded herself with Spider-Man No Way Home.
Which is a good way of ratcheting up the tension, because she is stuck here. Like, these are now her people. And so, like, there's no escaping this world anymore. We are done with the possibility of going back into the human realm for even a brief moment.
Yeah, because at any point, Luz could have just like thrown up her hands and be like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," and just go home through the portal. But now the escape button is no longer an option. Now she's stranded, and now the rest of the series will be dedicated to trying to find her a way home.
And then, so after that, Luz ends up freeing the three of them from their cage and flies off on the back of Ida. And at first it looks like, okay, so Ida's basically gone. She is going to become the Owl Beast. But I love this reincorporation because it's very clever and makes a complete sense while also being like a perfect resolution to the episode and the season.
In a way to redeem Lilith a bit.
Yeah, and the season on the whole, which is that Lilith uses the share pain spell on Ida in regards to her Owl Beast affliction, where they both turn back into their human form. Well, not human, but you know what I mean. Normal person.
Lilith
form.
wasn't in a beast form.
Yeah,
but Ida turns back.
Yeah, Ida turns back.
Interestingly, they both develop. I can't remember if it affected their hair too. I want to say it did. Like it makes their hair give her like a grayer strand. It definitely changes one of their eyes to gray.
I didn't notice the hair, but they are now both have heterochromia and both have one gray eye. And Ida can't use magic whatsoever. Lilith doesn't try to use magic, but she says it feels significantly weaker. So she either can't use magic or she can barely use magic. So they've both essentially completely handicapped themselves. But Luz, ever the optimist, is like, yo, but I can use magic too, even though I'm not a witch. So, I could just teach you my ways. And with that, the season ends with a pretty happy ending to the season. And, except there's one last teaser, which is the building of the portal. Which I mentioned earlier, just like how it was in Gravity Falls.
Boy, if I had a nickel for every time a Disney Channel animated series from the 2010, well, this is 2020, but it was confirmed in 2019, from the Disney Renaissance for Disney Channel ended with a construction of a portal to another world, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happens twice.
And so Bellows sends someone after the Owl House to spy on the gang to make sure that they're, keeping tabs on them. And it's did you notice the character that he sent?
Not particularly.
I was like, when Kikimora came in, he's like, what about the owl lady? And it's like, don't worry, we'll keep an eye on them. And then there's this guy with a gold mask and a white hood.
I assume that's someone I ought to look out for.
Yeah, that they're gonna be a very important character.
Is it going to be a question of who's behind the mask?
A bit.
All right.
And they're beginning work on the portal, which is very concerning because it would be one thing if they both didn't have a way home, but if Luz doesn't have a way home and Bellows does have a portal to the human realm, ooh boy.
Yeah,
because that just ain't good for nobody.
And with that, the season is over.
That is season 1B / season 1 of the Owl House finished, and it would then go on to be 10 months until the next episode.
I mean, hey, that's not too long of a wait between seasons.
It's okay. Being in the Steven Universe fandom for so long, you just get used to long-ass hiatuses.
I mean, I imagine
the pandemic also hit at this time. Like, when season 1B was released, when season 1A finished airing, the pandemic was like just taking hold of the entire world. And then season 1B started airing in mid-July of 2020. So while the episodes were probably already done, or at least most of them were done before the pandemic started, season 2 definitely was made during the pandemic.
So you're saying this is a long hiatus. Is it normal for the breaks between seasons to be like way shorter than 10 months for Western cartoons?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't take more than 6 months.
Because like an anime, which is the medium I'm used to, 10 months is like perfectly natural. Like the
Yeah,
break
like,
between
if
ReZero
we're-
seasons was something like 3 years.
Well, the thing about anime is that when their ordering of new seasons is like done at seemingly at random, and also based on success, which is like because they have they're also being based on adaptation, so they have to work with source material, whereas these are original shows usually with Western animation.
Yeah, so you
But
can't just order a new season when there isn't enough manga to go around, which was the case for Made in Abyss post Dawn of the Deep Soul for a little bit, if I recall correctly.
yeah. And so with that, we would go on to just, spin our wheels for 10 months. There was this one song that from like I don't know if you came across this at all, if you were like searching any like fandom stuff about the Owl House. After season 1, there's this song from this guy. I think his name is like Jiraiya Kwame, I want to say. And he wrote a song for like a musical, or like a musical audition type thing, called Little Miss Perfect. And the fandom just adopted that song basically and made it like the theme song for Amity. Like, and if you heard it, and you could apply the entire, like, all the lyrics of that song are 100% Amity. It might as well be an Amity song.
I literally just looked up Little Miss Perfect on YouTube, and yep, it is all Amity AMVs.
And what's interesting about that then is that because of the success, that caused that song to blow up. And because of that, he wrote a sequel song to be from Luz's perspective, and also half part of a musical that he is writing himself. And now, because of the support from these fans, Little Miss Perfect is going to be its own musical. It's not going to be directly related to the Owl House, but because of the Owl House adopting the song as their own, basically, and giving it so much attention, it inspired the guy to be like, well, now that I have this unforeseen success, I'm going to make a musical out of it.
That is good, cheery, feel good story.
Yeah, if you want to pass time, if you want to like consume Owl House content without having to wait until the next block of episodes to record for the podcast, well, I suppose it'd be dangerous to do so now because there'd be spoilers aplenty.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I'm gonna
I guess
wait
I would recommend
until like
watch the episodes first, then Google like Owl House animatic on YouTube and just like indulge yourself, because there's some good ones.
Yeah. The Owl House fandom honestly sounds kind of cool to be a part of.
They're getting like shit on by the internet because the Owl House community, it's not bad, like straight up. Like, I was a member of the Steven Universe fandom, and I would be like, yeah, there were some fuckers in that one. There were some pieces of shit.
I mean,
including one that
Steven Universe is like the infamous example of bad fandoms. Like, that's the one everyone jumps to.
What the fuck? Like, I'm sitting here like I'm in the thick of it, man. I'm up its ass. I'm like, if something bad were to happen in the Owl House fandom, I would know about it. I've yet to see it.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
nothing
I
as bad as
really anything from the Owl House fandom.
I have seen nothing like even remotely similar to like the levels of like death threats that cause someone to nearly take their own life in the Steven Universe fandom, and also straight up literal corporate espionage in the Voltron Legendary Defender fandom.
What the fuck?
You remember that TV show?
I've heard of it. I know one of my friends who saw it.
I heard that show goes to shit, and one of the big things about it is that a fan was like, I guess he won a tour of the show of the DreamWorks animation studio that was making it, and somehow they had snagged some spoiler material for the final seasons and was like, I will not release these spoilers on the internet if you make this ship canon in the show.
Fucking hell, that
like,
is.
And like, wow, man, you know how cool it would be for studios to give lucky fans like tours of their studios? Guess that they're not gonna do that anymore, or at least like not as frequently if they're gonna pull shit like this.
Did they make the ship real?
No, they did not. They did not cave. The stuff got leaked because of it, but it's good that they didn't cave into
that is a good thing.
Quite literally like blackmailing.
Unless the ship was good, then I understand it completely.
I mean, I suppose if the roles were reversed and Lumity was originally not going to be canon, and then I had the power to make Lumity canon, I would be the sacrifice. I would be the messiah to lead people to the promised land.
Anything for Lumity.
And that'll do it for day 1 of Owl Week.
We have been talking for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, we've gone a little bit over time, but you know what? This show is worth it.
I would definitely agree.
It is so far a masterpiece. I cannot confidently slap it with the masterpiece title just yet until the show is done, like I do with anything that I love. But right now, if the season 3 is as good as season 1 and 2 have been, it's an easy 10 out of 10.
If season 2 really is as good as you say it is, it might very well be for me as well. So far, I'd give season 2 like a strong 9 out of 10. I am absolutely.
You mean season 1?
Or season 1, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the first letters of the episode titles in a season spell out a phrase, and in season 1, it's "A witch loses a true way."
Ooh, what could that possibly be hinting towards?
Who knows?
Do you know?
Kind of. I don't know if like the thing already happened, or if it's because there's the season 2 message has already been deciphered, but they don't know what exactly it means yet.
So I guess we'll wait and see.
Yep. And that'll do her for this episode of Castaway Anime. If you enjoyed it, head on down to the comments, let us know what you think about the show, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more Owl House content and other episodes of Castaway Anime and other videos on the channel, hopefully soon. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crumbly Biscuit.
And you'll see us next time.